What's up, you beautiful chuds? I am now going to be doing a review for Weapons. This was the second movie that I got to see over the weekend. I also have just put out a review for the other movie that I watched called Together. If you want to know what I thought about that movie, then you can go and check out my very honest review of that movie. And of course, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can with you on this one, all about Weapons. If you are somebody that hasn't seen the movie, as usual, there are going to be spoilers because for me to give you my honest opinion on the movie, I have to talk about the entirety and the events of what happened in this movie. So for me to do that, of course, there might be spoilers or I might mention things that happen in the movie. So make sure you go and watch Weapons first. And of course, as usual, as I always say, that this opinion is my opinion alone. It doesn't have to be yours. You can have your own opinion about what you think about Weapons, and you might agree with me, and you more than likely will completely disagree with me. I don't know, but that is completely down to you. So this review is mine and mine alone. But Weapons is a new movie for 2025. It's a movie that is already shooting up to the top of the list of so many favorite so many people's favorite horrors of 2025. It is a movie that has got critical and a massive commercial success as well. So it's fantastic for horror. But does that always mean that the movie is any good? Well, unfortunately, as I mentioned, I've already spoken about Together. That didn't really pan out so well for me. So did Weapons, the second movie that I got to watch over the weekend, was I able to get that sour taste out of my mouth? And I can happily say that I did with Weapons. Weapons is a movie that is full of creativity, creative uniqueness. It is full of tension, and it's very fun. And there's loads of fantastic different moments and aspects in this movie. This movie, Weapons, as I said, is a new one for 2025, where we have a classroom of students who mysteriously and suddenly go missing during the middle of the night. No one knows why, and of course, this is building up the tensions between in this small town because the parents are wondering where their kids have gone and who they're going to be, who they're going to blame. Of course, the sole teacher of that classroom, and it was only that classroom that went missing, of course, is at the brunt of their of their anger. But did she have anything to do with it? Of course, she bloody didn't. But they've got to have someone to blame, and this is what a lot of the movie is about. And this is why this movie is even though it tackles this obviously incredible supernatural presence, there is a lot of humanity to this movie, and I'm going to go into that. So this movie, as I said, was a really fantastic movie. Zach Creggers, who is the director of it, of course, he previously made Barbarian. As far as I'm concerned with this movie, he's 2 for 2. Barbarian was a movie that I really liked. I thought it was fantastic. I thought once again it was very fun, but it was also dark, and it also had a lot of creativity around it. Had a lot of uniqueness, a lot of things that you can go, that felt a bit different, and I liked that. And it may not have been for everyone, but Weapons is the same. It also also feels very similar to a bit like a Stephen King movie as well, which of course isn't a bad thing. Now that's not to take anything away from Zach Creggers, but it means that what he's done is made something successfully, not only Stephen King, but also a tension-driven story that we're following. And it almost feels like it belongs as part of this sort of like It or story or Stephen King world, but of course it's not, because it's all done by Zach Creggers, and he's done a fantastic job with this movie in so many different aspects. And of course, I'll get into why. There are some really great and very human performances in this, and what's great is that this film really delves into essentially and the admission of saying that as human beings, unfortunately, we are incredibly problematic. We are incredibly problematic to ourselves, and we are incredibly problematic in our treatment to others, and how that then essentially has the butterfly effect of us all being problematic to each other. And sometimes we just need to shut up and just get out of each other's way and get out our own way. And that's what this movie really delves into. There are so many problems in this movie outside of this supernatural presence, this thing that is happening, the main core concept of these kids that have gone missing. People are so easy and eager to look for the blame outside of it, or look for someone to blame, that they are constantly creating problems for themselves and other people. And that's what's great about this movie is because it means that you think about it. You are constantly thinking about the movie, the characters. You then also think about yourself and you think to yourself, you know what? Like maybe I should be handling shit differently than what I do. And stop looking for other people to blame, right? And and start blaming each ourselves, and stop looking, start thinking about how we can be unproblematic for ourselves and other people. And this movie, is really heavy on that sort of aspect, but it helps when you've got people that are performing it really, really well. The performances in this are great. Julia Garner, who we also saw in The Wolfman recently as well, she is fantastic. You think when it starts off, she's going to be one character where, where you think that she might be a little bit of a pushover, but she really isn't. She's definitely got, some attitude. And unfortunately, like I've already mentioned, she's very problematic to herself. And unfortunately, she makes situations that she pushes upon other people incredibly problematic. We see that in the movie. We've also, of course, got Josh Brolin. He's a big time Hollywood man in this movie, and he really shows it. He's got, that great, Hollywood actor screen presence. He's fantastic in the movie. And it just all works. And of course, we've got Amy, I'm going to look it up because I'm going to say it wrong. Amy Madigan, who also played Gladys in the movie, who obviously has been a breakout for everybody in the movie, who essentially plays this eccentric, who to people who don't know what the fuck's going on around the town, she's just this crazy sort of eccentric old lady. But of course, there is the sinister side, the sinister dark path that she is creating for everybody. But everybody in this movie is a movie full of great performances. Of course, as well, there is Austin Abrams, obviously, who will be a bigger thing. I know he's going to be in Zach Creggers' movie as well. He's absolutely fantastic in this movie. So it's one of those movies where structurally, it's a movie that I love, because what I like to do is I like to structurally take it all apart and say, right, performances, sound, music, practical effects, directing, cinematography, filmmaking, everything like that. You rip it all apart and then you put it back together again. And that is exciting when you get the opportunity to have a movie like that, because then you can sort of tick all the boxes or cross all the boxes, and then you can go, right, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like. This is one of those movies that there's very few bits, or if anything, that I didn't like. I really enjoyed pretty much my entire experience watching this movie. I would probably say it got a little bit sort of tiring, or a little bit uncreative in a way, where it's like they keep on going back and forth between the different characters of the movie. So when we get to a certain point, then it switches over to the reverse side of this other person's story and how they get to that moment, and then we do it again and it gets to that moment where it stops, and then at some point we all sort of catch up and it becomes the rest of the movie. So I like that. I don't think there's something really a problem with it, but at the same time it's a little bit uncreative. It sort of feels like it was like, well, if we do this, then we don't necessarily have to worry too much about the entirety of a movie. We can sort of just continue to go over the moments that happen in the movie, but do it on a different perspective. So it is creative, but also at the same time, it feels a little bit less creative than going, we've got to try and figure out the entirety of like A, B to C of a movie without rehashing moments that we've already seen or know that are already coming. But that would honestly be my only critique. That's not really a critique, because it's still a fantastic movie. It just means that the structure of it, could have been done a slightly different, which means it would have been a little bit more creative. By not going over the events of what happens in the movie that we've already seen like 4 or 5 times. But the thing is, once again, it means that we then get to see the different performances and the different journeys that people are on to get them to the point where we get to the last quarter of the movie. So performances are great. Zach Greger is already establishing himself as a filmmaker in regards to the construct and the structure of his movies, but also in regards to the aesthetics. I would say that this film definitely has sort of the look of Barbarian, but obviously this film, I would probably say, delves a little bit deeper into going with, more like creative shots. But if you put Barbarian together with this, you can definitely say, oh, that's definitely done by the same creator and definitely done by the same filmmaker, which is fantastic because he's already establishing a style of his movies, which of course is a really important thing to be a successful director. Only if it's good. If it's shit, then it doesn't work. But if it's good, like we get with Zach Creggers, where he's working on these different sort of angles and different shots as he does, and they don't feel like they're put in purposely. They don't feel like they're put in just because they want to create like a weird angle. Because this is obviously a weird movie, but nothing feels like so weird. They're like, let's shove this in because it's fucking weird. Let's do this shot, or let's make this person do this or say that. It all feels very natural. It feels very organic, and that's the way that I feel about his filmmaking. That even though his filmmaking is pretty out there, and his ideas and story and structures and stuff is pretty out there, he still finds a way to normalize it, and I really like that. Obviously, everything he does is very well written as well. He's a fantastic writer. So that works within the movie as well because it means you get good performances that are aided by a good script and a tight script, and it works really well. And then, of course, you get some really, really gnarly practical effects. This is one of those movies that when it does go violent, it goes very violent, just like Barbarian as well, where the violence is sort of there to shock you, to go, oh shit, I didn't expect that coming. And we get that a lot in Weapons, but we get that a lot in Barbarian as well. So that's definitely, once again, a style, a trend to Zach Creggers movies where he's not just trying to shock you in regards to the events that happen or the keep you on your toes and make it unpredictable, but he's also keeping the violence itself pretty unpredictable because you're like, shit, I didn't think it was going to go that far. And this is, as I said, this is a movie that builds up tension, builds up the dread really well. And once again, it's a mystery, so you're sort of invited into to trying to not solve the mystery yourself because you don't know where it's going to go in that respect. Once again, unpredictability. But you're invited in to enjoy where this story is going and the mystery of Josh Brolin trying to figure out what is happening, the way that he's doing it, the way that people are reacting to him and reacting to Julia Garner, with the journey that she's on, with her being essentially to blame for it, even though they have no grounds to do that to her because they just they think she's a witch or stuff, but she isn't the witch in the movie, is she? Because Amy Madigan, who plays, as I said, Aunt Gladys, um, she is the supernatural presence of the movie. And once again, it doesn't feel weird. Like out of sight, it might be weird, but it doesn't feel out of place. It feels natural. It feels organic with the movie. And of course, she is a scene stealer. She is absolutely fantastic in this moment. The moments where she's playing this old lady, that might be aggravating to people, and so to speak, she plays that brilliantly. And then, of course, she has this very dark, sinister side to her that she plays perfectly as well. It's just a very, very interesting, very well made movie. And the mystery that as it unfolds is very interesting itself as well. And the characters we're on the journey with as well. There's lots of characters in this, and we enjoy the journeys with them because we're interested. And that's the thing. If a film can continue to pique your interest from start to finish, then it's exciting that you get to watch a movie like that. And it's not a movie that is overhyped like certain other movies, and maybe a movie that I spoke about on my last review that was absolutely, for me, overhyped. And then it worried me about going into watching this movie. And luckily, this movie for me wasn't overhyped. Um, it is still part of this modern day horror, which is always a bit of a disadvantage for me, I suppose, to be. I suppose when I'm speaking about these movies or watching these movies, because I am very much in the vein that I really love enjoyable, fun horror movies. And we, are living in a world now where horror can, as I always say, can be very dark and nihilistic in tone and very mundane. And the characters don't really work the way that they should be. Nobody feels like an individual. Everybody feels like they are part of, just one person. And then they've just, they're just scripted the same for everyone. There's no character. It always ends badly. Like there's so much with modern day horror. And then obviously, this is why films like Terrifier 3 and so on become so successful, because people like me, I want to see, it's not about the blood, guts and gore. It's about having fun. and it's about enjoying your time at the cinema or enjoying your time at home watching these movies. And it's quite difficult to do that when you're watching movies that are emotionally a tough watch. And I'm not really into all of that in regards to how it feels like that is the majority of modern day horror. And I would say Weapons fits in that in regards to obviously it's very very sort of dark, mundane sort of approach, nihilistic approach, so to speak. But the thing with Weapons is that you enjoy your journey because one, it's a mystery and it's very well made and it's very well written. So then that brings in the excitement factor as well, where you're sitting there and you're enjoying it and you can't wait to see where this goes because of for multiple reasons. And that's why Weapons works really really well. So I really liked Weapons. Also, the I love the fact, and once again, it goes to show Zach Creggers as a very talented filmmaker, because his lack of score and sound in this, but used expertly. That's what's really interesting. He knows that sound can be incredibly important to a movie, and the impact that sound can have on an audience is incredibly important. So he uses it when he needs to, where so many scenes don't even have anything in it, no music, no sound, nothing, no score, but he brings it in when he needs to, and it has the obviously bigger impact on the on the movie itself and how we feel when we're watching it. So once again, it's another fantastic thing that Zach Greger is able to bring to us, bring to the screen and bring to filmmaking. And of course, I do have to mention that there is, once again, I speak about this film, obviously being pretty serious and so on. There is a moment where it almost feels like it's gone full slapstick with Aunt Gladys at the end of it, which truly had me in absolute stitches when the kids are running after her, and the way that that's elongated. It's not like a short chase; it's a pretty long chase where these kids are after her. And the way that that ends, such an insane way. This movie does get insane very well, yeah, and it goes to those fucked up places. And that ending moment with Aunt Gladys as well is so funny and feels so unlike the rest of the movie, but it doesn't take you out of it where you're like, oh well, that's stupid. You just go, well, doesn't feel like the same movie, but it's so hilarious. So yeah, it's just a thoroughly enjoyable movie from start to finish. As I said, could have been structured a little bit different way. Does it feel a little bit like a little bit lazy because you're getting the multiple, you already know what's going to happen quite a bit of the movie because you've seen it, but you've seen it from a different perspective and angle. It can be exciting, but it can also feel a little bit lazy, and a little bit, stretched. But at the same time, when the end result is a fully enjoyable movie like Weapons, um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there is anything that's going to top this for me, when it comes to the end of 2025. I know there's obviously been some big hitters out already, and there has been some movies that I've disliked. There's been some movies that I like, but I would definitely put Weapons on the list of movies that I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed. And a lot of people out there have done the same as well. And it's one of those movies that genuinely feels like the success that it's had so far is definitely deserved. And we'll see what happens come the end of the year. And if I get a chance to do the Lex Talk Horror Awards that I always try and do, then we'll see what happens. We'll see where this places. Will it be right at the top, or will something else that comes out that beats it? But I would definitely, I recommend every movie, as I always say. Like, I recommend that you go and watch any movie that you possibly can. But I would definitely recommend that if you get a chance to watch Weapons, then absolutely do. But as usual, that's it. That's how I feel about Weapons. Feel free to get into the comments as to what you think about what I think of Weapons. Also, I want to know what you think of Weapons. Of course, please, if you can subscribe, it's absolutely free, and I am putting out as much as I can. These reviews obviously are a rarity, but of course, the podcast episodes on video format are uploaded every month, a couple of times every month, and there's always more things going on YouTube as well. So please subscribe if you can. Said it's absolutely free, it don't cost you anything, and then you just get to enjoy the most honest conversations about horror that is, I think, is out there. I'm not going to hold back on things, whether I like things or not, and but I do very much enjoy having conversations about horror, and I like trying to be as honest as I possibly can to help any of you out there deciding whether you want to watch a movie or not, or whether you think that what I'm saying is absolute shit. Either way, doesn't matter, does it? But until next time, stay creepy, fuckers.